My name is Socrates. If you are listening to this voice while gazing at your smartphone screen, it might be a sign that you're closing the door to your own freedom. This is because control creeps in, not with the face of a sword, but with comfort. Power once took the form of whips or laws, but today it takes the shape of devices and apps that whisper to you, you don't need to think. Consider this. The things you find convenient today, did you truly choose them for yourself? Or are they designed for you to desire them? We were supposed to possess tools, but now the designers of tools have begun to design our desires themselves. Meals delivered with a click, instant search results, a flood of mind-numbing short videos. These are mechanisms of control masked as comfort. I know this. To cultivate the soul requires anguish, questioning, and silence. Yet convenience robs us of all these. Without questioning, without choosing, we are merely swept along. And before you realize it, you aren't living by your own will, but by someone else's. So today, I ask you this. Are you truly using convenience, or is convenience using you? Within this question lies the boundary between convenience and control. It's not a visible line, yet it exists, and many cross it without even realizing. In this video, I will explore that unseen boundary with you. How, amidst the sweet aroma of comfort, does one forget to think and gradually accept control? And what does it mean to protect the freedom of the soul? I am Socrates, who in ancient Athens relentlessly questioned power and eventually chose the hemlock. Were I living in this era, I wouldn't stand silently by as you quietly go mad within the comfort of a tap. So let us speak. Control is poison by the name of comfort. I will unravel the true meaning of these words with the 12 swords of thought. Imagine walking through a marketplace one day, piles of fruit everywhere, and everyone clutching their smartphones. But get 10 times the points now. Instant delivery in 5 minutes. AI matching you with your perfect partner. Don't you think it resembles an oracle's prophecy? But this oracle doesn't ask you to think. Just believe, just obey, just be comfortable. This is the God of our times, the face of civilization laid on the altar of technology. I once said, an unexamined life is not worth living. But now people have given up the task of examining. Instead, they accept optimized choices without thought. This is a new form of ignorance. A quick search reveals answers, but they are merely answers someone has curated. This video offers you a reward. It is the chance to reclaim your own thinking. What is convenience? Why does convenience attract people? And what hidden mechanisms lie within that comfort? Only those who question, think, and realize these things can truly choose by their own will. Otherwise, someone else already holds the wheel of your life. Let me share a number. A study suggests that humans make between 3,000 to 5,000 decisions a day on average. But how many of those are truly made by your own will? What you eat, what you watch, what you buy, whom you love. What if these are all preempted by an algorithm? Is your life one that seems chosen, but is actually chosen for you? Yes, your life today is under an invisible control far more than the citizens of Athens in Socrates' time. No chains or cages are needed. As long as it's convenient, people don't notice they're being controlled and may even welcome it. So, I will question with you whether this comfort is genuinely your ally. Let us regain the power to discern the boundary between convenience and control with our own eyes. That is the promise of this journey. Even at this moment, the world is enveloped in unprecedented convenience. Yet behind this convenience, human will is fading, and the contours of the soul are becoming blurred. I once gave a speech in Athens on the folly of paying attention solely to the body and ignoring the voice of the soul. But now, in your modern world, you live in a comfortable world that serves not just the body, but desire itself. Consider this. Your refrigerator tells you when you're running out of milk. Your smart speaker plays your favorite music without you asking. Algorithms on social media endlessly present videos you might like. At first glance, it might seem like the happiness of not having to choose. But when you stop choosing, whose life are you truly living? The era we live in feigns a multitude of choices, yet is essentially a world where choices are made for you. Technology acts as an outsourced thinking service, and thought vanishes from daily life. Those who do not think are those who do not question control. Thus, the greatest chaos of the modern age is not violence or war. It is the disappearance of the act of questioning. Advertisements whisper, "just for you," and the news is optimized for you. Everything appears designed for your convenience. But this may mean you are like livestock fenced in. What's more frightening is that no one perceives this as control. Comfortable dictatorship is quieter and more alluring than the cries of a tyrant. People learn to comply through pleasure rather than the pain of losing freedom. This is a battlefield, a world where the line between thought and desire blurs, where information and truth blend, and where the self and an orchestrated self become indistinguishable. Are you living your own desires, or merely tracing a program of desire designed by someone else? Only those who sincerely confront this question can become aware of the boundary's existence. And beyond that boundary lies the freedom of the soul I once defended with my life. I am Socrates. I lived in ancient Athens, constantly questioning, and was judged as an inconvenient presence for the state, ultimately drinking poison. What I sought to protect was one thing: the practice of individuals thinking for themselves. In the past, I engaged in dialogue with many people. Politicians, craftsmen, poets. They all believed they knew, but I saw through them. They knew the words, but not the meaning. Their knowledge was borrowed, not originating from their own souls. So I declared, "I know that I know nothing. In this way, I am wiser than others." This wisdom of knowing nothing is the starting point for all philosophical thought. Yet, in today's world, people can find answers instantly by searching for them. This convenience is no doubt comfortable. However, knowledge not earned through the struggle of one's own mind does not take root in the soul. I also spoke these words: living well is of utmost importance. Not merely a long life, but a correct, meaningful existence is where human value lies. For this, what is necessary is care for the soul, that is, developing oneself through philosophical exploration. So how about the convenience of today? Does it nurture the soul, or does it numb the soul through pleasure? When I said, the unexamined life is not worth living, it was not merely a philosopher's rhetoric. It was the sole means of living without self-deception. If you feel that something is amiss in this world, that discomfort is the aching of the soul, my call to you. With modern convenience, the act of thinking is being abandoned, and the soul is more vulnerable than ever before. Is that not a crisis? I ask, are you taking care of your soul, or have you surrendered it to comfort? The answer is for you, not me, to discover. But the tool necessary for that pursuit, the power to continue questioning, I wish to hand over to you now. In the modern age, you are basking in the benefits of what is termed convenience. But who has questioned the structure of these benefits? In the past, I spoke with many people on the streets, leaders, young boys, passers-by, because every soul had the potential to touch upon truth. Now, I am here in this era to repeat the same question, albeit in a different form. Who truly benefits from the systems you consider convenient? Take, for example, the navigation app you use. It leads you to your destination via the shortest route. However, that route is selected for you by an algorithm. Is your own will involved in that choice? Or are you merely choosing from options that have been chosen for you? This is a new kind of ignorance, different from the ignorance Socrates spoke of. The ignorance of not even knowing what you don't know. In ancient Athens, democracy was shaped through dialogue and discussion among its people. It was the responsibility of the thinking citizen. Yet today, even that responsibility is lost through recommended choices. This is where control lies. While boldly claiming this is perfect for you, it substitutes and absorbs human judgment and sovereignty. Control begins not with violence, but with the delegation of thought. In the modern world, freedom is not about what you can choose, but about whether you truly think and choose for yourself. Let me express this structure with a parable. Once, there were prisoners in a cave. They mistook shadows on the wall for reality, rejoicing and despairing over these shadows. But these shadows were mere false realities shown by someone waving puppets near a fire. One prisoner escaped and discovered the light outside, returning to speak of the truth, only to be ridiculed as a madman by the others. This story is Plato's allegory of the cave, drawn from my philosophy. But it is as relevant in today's world. Social media timelines, video recommendations, AI answers, they are not the light. They are just shadows cast upon your cave. If you live in this era, you must question the shadows. Constantly ask whether the projection called convenience shackles your soul. Let me pose a question to you. Is it possible to enjoy convenience without losing the freedom of the soul? This is not merely an exercise in thought. It is a dilemma that will define your way of life. On one hand, we are weary. We are bombarded by countless choices, vast information, and the complexity of society. In such times, convenience appears as a salvation. It allows us to avoid unnecessary decisions, solving matters with the push of a button. People call it progress. However, I want to ask, in the wake of this progress, does your thinking still thrive? Or has it been processed and diminished by convenience? AI does it for me, or I just follow recommendations. Isn't that a way of living without thinking? Here lies the dilemma. Convenience makes life easier, but being easy often reduces people to unthinking beings. So where does your virtue, the excellence of the soul, arete, go? I believe that virtue is something to be cultivated. In other words, it is the power to deliberately choose inconvenience that strengthens the soul. However, there might be a counter-argument. The times have changed. If we thought everything through like we did in the past, modern society wouldn't function. With so many choices, it's more efficient to entrust decisions. Indeed, the current world is complex. But precisely because of this, you must consciously decide how much you think for yourself and where you let others decide. If you don't and leave everything to the comforting control, your soul will no longer belong to you. I challenge you. What will you deliberately make inconvenient to preserve the freedom of your soul? For instance, turning off notifications. For instance, choosing the books you read instead of relying on recommendations. For instance, thinking through dialogue with people instead of using AI. Convenience or inconvenience, ease or soul's training. There is no single correct answer to this dilemma, but to continue carrying this question is, in itself, freedom. I know that the discovery of fire changed humanity, but it was merely a tool for cooking food. The fire you possess now is different. It is a technology that cooks the soul itself and reconstructs it according to desire. AI, big data, algorithms, IoT. Under the guise of convenience, these optimize your actions, interests, and emotions. But is an optimized life truly a free life? In my time, the citizens of Athens prided themselves on their freedom. But that freedom was supported by dialogue, deliberation, and responsibility. In contrast, you now think you've obtained the optimal life with the touch of a button. Yet that is a phantom of choice embedded within designed comfort. AI predicts what you desire. But the question is this: did that desire truly arise from within you? In a future where even desires are predicted and staged, there is a possibility that the freedom of the soul is merely treated as noise. When rationality, efficiency, and comfort become too strong, philosophy loses its place. Once, philosophy was at the forefront of knowledge. Now, it is dismissed with a simple, "Can AI do that?" But I want to say, a question to which AI can provide an answer does not hold true growth of the soul. Technology should remain a tool, but now it is becoming the master. Are you using technology, or is technology using you? In future society, if human thought is completely replaced by AI, what remains is comfortable slavery. No rebellion, no struggle, no choice. Only a harmonized satisfaction exists. Can you call that freedom? Yet there is no need to despair. You still have a choice, whether to coexist with technology or to become subservient to it. I leave it to the future, that you may once again possess the will to question the soul amidst the comfort of technology. The future is a culmination of choices, and the starting point of those choices lies in the power of humans to question. Close your eyes quietly. If you listen closely, you might hear a notification sound from somewhere far away. But right now, in this moment, you can forget even that sound, because silence is the only condition to hear the voice of the soul. I once spoke tirelessly in the squares of Athens, but what I truly wanted to convey was the questions that reside in silence. Words exist to pierce through silence. Yet true contemplation never comes to those who cannot savor the quiet that follows after words have been uttered. In this age, silence is deemed wasteful. Words quickly become content, and emotions are readily shared. However, truly profound questions lie hidden within unspoken words. Remember this: when someone said, "Isn't this convenient?" Did you really think so? Or were you just going along with the prevailing sentiment? The boundary between convenience and control is not a line drawn in the world, but a line drawn within you. In silence, you will discover that what you truly sought was not speed or efficiency, but the space for deeper thought and the freedom to make your own decisions. Allow me to share an image I cherish. The quiet before dawn, that time when all sounds seem frozen. Before the world starts moving, only the air and heartbeat exist. In that moment, one is closest to truth, because there are neither choices nor performances, only the soul as it truly is. If you can embrace questions within this silence, you will notice the trap of control without succumbing to the allure of convenience. So, do not fear. Silence is not loneliness. It is a blessed interval where the soul reboots itself. Everything I've discussed so far boils down to a single question. So how will you live your life? I didn't choose the poison chalice for the sake of an ideal. It was my own decision, a choice to remain true to my soul. So, living in the present, how much are you protecting your own soul in your daily choices? Here, let me offer you a piece of wisdom in action. It's a strategy to reconstruct a thoughtful life while resisting the poison of comfort without entirely rejecting technology. 1. Doubt automation. When something does it for you, make sure it's really headed in the direction you want. Navigation, ads, recommendations, there's intent behind automation. This intent is often not in your interest, but in the convenience of others. 2. Intentionally schedule inconveniences. Choose not to take the shortest path. Look up recipes in books instead of apps. Stand in line to share both wasted time and reflection. These little inconveniences create space in your soul. 3. Silence notifications and secure silence. There are very few things you must know right now. What's needed for the soul is not information, but well-matured questions. These questions can only nurture in silence. 4. Question yourself before relying on AI. Is this my thought, or is it borrowed? It's the inconvenient question, not the convenient answer, that nurtures the soul. AI is a set of training wheels, not a substitute for thinking. 5. Engage in dialogue, particularly with those who ponder more than you. I've dedicated my life to engaging in dialogue with others. Unless you confront those who question earnestly and think seriously, you'll never be aware of your own ignorance. These aren't mere suggestions. This is a practical tactic to safeguard freedom. Only those who refuse to discard the act of thinking can discern the boundary between convenience and control and reclaim their own soul. What I want to say to you is this. Truly free individuals are those who continually challenge themselves with questions. So invite small questions and inconveniences into your daily life. This is the only antidote to combat the sweet poison known as control. I want you to quietly take a deep breath. If anything has been born within you during this series of dialogues, it is proof that you still possess the power to question. Domination and convenience, comfort and freedom. In modern times, these words are nearly synonymous. However, I wanted to implant a sense of discomfort within you as something foreign. This discomfort will eventually transform in silence and grow into contemplation. Now there's nothing before you. No screen, no sound, no information. It's just you and your soul. In those moments, a person can truly confront themselves. I said, an unexamined life is not worth living. Yet that examination can sometimes bring fatigue and solitude. That's why the lure of convenience is enticing, and domination advances quietly. But remember, the strength of the soul is the courage to stand on your own feet without relying on the will of others. It's not living as instructed by someone, but living while questioning, why am I doing this? If something is troubling your heart now, that's enough. It is already the first resistance to comfortable slavery. Domination makes no sound. But for those who've become aware, everything in the world begins to emit a different sound. At that moment, your options change. No, you become capable of questioning the very nature of choice. Let me offer you one last symbolic phrase. Comfort can sometimes be a prison for the soul. The key to that prison is already in your pocket. However, few realize this, but you've already noticed. To you who have stayed with me until now, I offer my heartfelt respect. In this era, how many people are there who truly listen to long-held questions and reflect on themselves? That mindset is evidence of living freely, not under control. But the journey isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. I'm no longer by your side, but the questions remain. Are you really using convenience, or are you being used by it? Please place this question into your daily life. Whether shopping, opening an app, or talking to someone, there are countless boundaries drawn. Whether you cross them unconsciously or step over each one with awareness will decisively change the depth of your life. I won't command you, because those who act on command are part of a structure of control. Instead, I'll leave you with a few questions. If you like, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments section. Seeds of questions. What does freedom mean to you? When was the last time you chose inconvenience for yourself? When selecting information, have you considered who might have chosen it for you? Does your soul tremble more at an answer created by AI or one you've thought through yourself? At what moments do you realize you're being controlled? My words end here, but your questions will continue. They will eventually create dialogue and become a force to shake society. If this video was the first step, I'd be delighted, and I look forward to meeting you again with the next question. One last thing. Do not succumb to convenience. Follow your soul. Until we meet again, seeker of wisdom. I wish for more souls undeterred by silence to light up in this world. I have posed many questions to you up to this point, sometimes harshly, sometimes quietly, sometimes provocatively, because I believe a human soul is only awakened through questioning, the boundary between convenience and control. Its outline is vague, difficult to see, and shifts a little each day. Before you realize it, your freedom to choose is diminished and your freedom to think is diluted. But today, you have heard this voice and kindled a fire within yourself. It is a commitment to live as someone who chooses. This video is not meant to provide answers. It is meant to offer questions. Only those who continue to carry these questions can preserve their soul and choose their future. I am Socrates, a philosopher who once stood against power, refused to be silent until the end, and accepted the hemlock. Now, I stand once again in this era, reaching out to you, a thinker. Examine your own life. Do not be lulled into comfort. Do not forget to question. If these words sparked something within you, it is proof that you are no longer just a consumer. When we meet again, what questions will you bring? I look forward to that moment. Before you leave, I have a request. Subscribe to this channel and listen to my questions once more. And if possible, also engage with the voices of other philosophers. They too are sure to be fellow travelers in your journey of thought.